Hey, stormy weather pattern. We've been talking about this moving out of the plains and into the Midwest. That's kicking off a stretch tomorrow and Saturday. Heavy rain, flood concerns for millions of folks, which you're looking live there. I think it's middle right along Lake Michigan, Grant Park, home to Chicago's Lollapalooza, one of the nation's largest outdoor music festivals. We've got our ROE, risk of weather impact, high category for Friday and Saturday. So let's bring in Bob Brecht. He's the TSE Entertainment managing partner to talk about what happens here with festivals like Lollapalooza when they deal with bad weather. Thanks for joining us, Bob. This is a festival where it's outdoors. There's no escaping impacts from weather. So what happens on a day like today where the festival opens up? You're looking at the next 2 days, and we could have some problems.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's why you plan for those kind of contingencies. Any large festival like this plans for a whole year at a time. Otherwise, planning for the next event actually occurs immediately after the last one. So this year's was started after last year's, and there's a lot of things that go into that planning, from the infrastructure in terms of engineering standards for, tents, stages, and all that kind of stuff, what kind of wind loads they can take, as well as egress planning. Everyone's involved with such a huge event. All the public safety agencies, state agencies, county, city agencies, as well as insurance carriers now are heavily involved in planning for these kind of events. And so it's very important that any adverse weather event, in this case we're talking weather, but it could be more than weather in terms of adverse events, but it's planned for. And a contingency plan is created that has what kind of behaviors will take place when certain triggers are met, such as wind speed, lightning within 8 or 10 miles or whatever. And of course, the larger event, the more issues there are with egress, especially in terms of evacuating that many people.
Yeah, Bob, that's a couple of really interesting points that you made. One being the actual thresholds of this temporary venues and some of the staging, tents, things of that nature, what it can hold up to, and actually getting everybody out of there if you need to. I'm curious in this instance where if it's just rain, I know there's 100,000 people or so every day. If this can go on as scheduled, event organizers, everyone attending, that's what folks are looking for. And just rain is okay. Lightning in the mix, now all of a sudden we're in a very unsafe scenario, and wind too. So if we're at a very marginal point tomorrow where Friday it could be rain, some thunderstorms in the mix, Saturday looks like a bunch of rain with some wind with it, at what point, at what time scale do those kind of decisions need to be made to get people out of the park safely?
Well, actually, the contracted meteorology company is already reviewing everything as we speak. The Thursday before is a big planning day from a weather point of view and knowing what potential. Rain in and of itself, as you said, doesn't really impact unless the rain reaches an inch an hour or more. Then you may stop activities until the rain subsides somewhat. But when it comes to wind and lightning, those are the really big issues when it comes to that. There are clear trigger points. For instance, when wind speeds reach above a certain minimum, 25 mile an hour, you take action. And a good weather contingency plan has those triggers. Whether, for instance, if lightning is within, for a smaller festival, 8 miles would trigger an evacuation and people to seek cover. In a larger event like this, where it takes 40 minutes or 60 minutes to evacuate people, the contingency may change and may even suggest as far as 30 miles out in terms of lightning strikes, because of the time it takes to get people evacuated and under cover. But what we like to do when we're doing planning for contingencies is take the subjectiveness out of it. If this happens, then you do this, right? If the wind speed hits this, you lower your banners and scrims and all those kinds of things. If it gets higher, then you move people away from the stage and start evacuation if necessary. So every trigger has a behavior associated with it of the crew and the audience, and so we try to get those triggers in place and the plan so that nobody has to stand there thinking, should I evacuate? Should I do this?
That's
Should
it.
I not? If this happens, you do this.
That's
the way
exactly it right there. You consider that there's a history with this kind of thing, and folks want to know that those procedures, what you've outlined, are in place to keep everybody safe as you're trying to get out there, hoping for the best weather-wise, and having a good time enjoying one of the country's biggest music festivals. That's managing partner at TSE Entertainment, Bob Brecht. Bob, thanks for telling us a little bit more about those procedures here on Fox Weather.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right.